Hello there, and welcome to part 1 of a new video series called Beyond the Matrix. In this series I'm going to try to give you a fundamental understanding of the whole phenomenon of OBEs in one go. Paint the full big picture, as it were. And in doing so I'll attempt to answer some of the most fundamental questions associated with the experience, such as what OBEs actually are, what reality actually is, what the purpose and meaning of life itself is, what death is and isn't, how to have OBEs, how to apply them to your daily life to enhance it and help deal with your personal struggles, how to achieve freedom and happiness, and probably most important, why OBEs are a vital step in the evolution of mankind. It's a vast and intricate topic. Everything is connected, so to speak. But at the same time, it's unbelievably simple. And it's this simplicity I want to try to get across in these videos, and why it's so simple, and why it's so vast, and why it's so profound and important. So let's just start. Part 1. What are OBEs? OBEs are out-of-body experiences. That is to say, experiences of being outside your physical body or separated from your physical body. Okay, that's clear enough, but there are 2 points that are important to consider here. Number 1, it's an experience, and number 2, it's about being outside your physical body. Really, the term should be OPBE, which is out of physical body experience. But we should take this a step further, because we have to understand what our physical body is, right? Sounds easy. Your physical body is the one you spend all your time in, and it's anchored in this physical world, in this physical universe. So let's take point 1. It's an experience. We could say our physical body is an experience, a very persistent one, a very convincing one. But there's a lot of information and ideas out there from religions, spiritual teachings and philosophers that say the physical body is essentially an illusion. And even science is coming to this conclusion. Quantum physics, the holographic reality theory, the digital virtual reality theory, and the fact that 90% of the known universe consists of something that's called dark matter, which tries to explain the vastness of nothingness, which isn't exactly nothing after all. From all this information, we can safely come to the conclusion that our physical bodies and everything we know as physical is actually something not physical, that we only perceive as physical. Still with me? Okay. With this understanding and this perspective, what we're actually talking about with OBEs should be retermed OPPBE, out of perceived physical body experience. It's a mouthful, but it's closest to the truth, and it makes everything easier to understand. Let's move on to point 2. Being outside our physical bodies is also an experience. We don't even have to go into discussion of whether we really are outside our physical body, because it's an experience, and experiences are real in themselves. If you think you're Napoleon, then you're having an experience of being Napoleon, and that experience is real regardless of any proof that you're not Napoleon. It's the experience that's real. If you have an experience of being outside your physical body, that experience is real too. Experience is really the only thing we can rely on to be real. Because if our physical bodies are only perceived to be physical, we can't call them real either. I like to say there are two distinct experiences around this OBE phenomenon. The OPBE and the IPBE. That means the out of physical body experience and the in physical body experience. Remember, we're talking about perceived bodies here. And neither is less real or more real than the other. Think about that. We call the in-body experience more real, only because it's the experience we are more familiar with, the one we always come back to, the one we wake up to every day, the one with consistency over a whole lifetime, the one we spend most time in, the one we found ways to explain, the one we've learned to accept as more real. But is it? Well, I'll leave you to ponder that one a while for yourself. So all this brings us on to the question, what is real and what is reality? The answer to that will depend on your perspective, which is dependent on your perception, which in turn is governed by your belief system. And your belief system is biased by your programming, meaning your educational, societal, cultural, and religious or non-religious conditioning. Your perspective on reality will therefore affect your understanding of the out-of-body experience. If you believe in conventional materialistic physics, then reality consists of particles and atoms and molecules and cells and evolution of the species and the Big Bang and electrical impulses from our senses that are interpreted by the brain to create the appearance of the physical world outside of us. And on top of that, it only gives us the impression of consciousness, while really it's all just sparks in our head, and we are lumbering biological robots that function like computer-driven machines. From this perspective, OBEs are impossible. And like dreams, they're just an imagined experience that takes place in your head. An illusion, or rather a delusion, even a mental imbalance. If you're religious, you'll possibly believe that an OBE is your soul separated from your body and you've been given a glimpse of heaven, or worse, that you've entered the world of demonic spirits who could take over the empty vessel of your physical body while you're still out. And therefore, it's a dangerous and probably sinful practice to engage in. If you follow any alternative spiritual path, then you'll take the perspective that we are in essence spiritual beings having a human experience, and our task is to evolve in our spirituality towards unconditional love and a reunion with oneness, or God, or source consciousness. And since we are spiritual beings, in essence, we are capable of escaping the physical illusion via astral projection and ultimately via death, to travel through ever higher dimensions and realms towards that eventual reunion when we passed all the tests and earned our passage to an everlasting nirvana of bliss and oneness. And you could also take the perspective of the new movements in modern science that tell us that it's highly likely we are computer-generated avatars in a virtual reality program built by our far-off future descendants. In this case, OBEs are basically a hacking of the rule set, enabling us to skip over to other virtual reality programs. There is another experience of reality that I want to touch on here because it's vitally important. It's called the corporate reality, and that is the matrix system of organizations that run this world. The elite, the deep state, the political systems, the judicial systems, the multinational corporations, the banking systems, big pharma, the media from news channels to the entertainment industry, the UN, the educational systems and more. You live your whole life under the shadow of these systems to such an extent that your individuality as a human being is overshadowed by your role within this vast machine, a machine created by mankind that's taken so for granted that it's become a reality of its own. So ask yourself what you believe. What is reality for you? And ask yourself, can any reality be any more real than another? If every reality is in essence only an experience, only a perceived reality, the reality you experience and perceive personally, the one you believe in, will be the one you use to judge and measure and define and label every other version of reality. From your reality, your definition of what is real, every other reality will be deemed less real. And so begins the debate of my reality is more real than your reality, which, in my opinion, is a futile debate, because what we're actually debating is whether or not one experience or perception of reality is more real than another. And the answer to that is no. So let me tell you now what I believe about reality and explain OBEs from the perspective that this belief leads me to, and also why my OBEs have reinforced that belief and perspective. For me, the thing or essence that lies behind all of reality, all of life, all of existence, is consciousness. And this isn't just my idea, of course, it's been around for thousands of years. But what then is consciousness? I understand consciousness as intelligent awareness. That is, a self-aware life force or entity without form or limitation. The closest I can come to understanding it is to think of mind. It's not soul, because soul is a word that better defines the spirit identity of an individual. Mind is more comprehensive. Mind is thought, imagination, awareness, intelligence, creativity, all rolled into one. Mind is where everything we know about our individual experience of being is nestled. Not in brain, but in mind. We know the experience of our own minds as the place of our own thoughts, imagination, dreams, contemplations, questions, reasoning, creativity, understanding, intelligence, memories, awareness and self-awareness, and the translation of everything we experience outside of us to bring it within us. We really are our minds and not our bodies, because we experience our bodies within our minds. We experience all our emotions and feelings and private inner world within our minds. We experience the experience of life, of being alive, of being a unique individual, all within our minds. So our consciousness is our minds. Now when we look at the contents of our minds, from our sensory experiences to our inner experiences, meaning pains and pleasures, dreams and memories, everything is in fact a mental construct, a thought. Everything boils down to the form of thought. We think, therefore we are. There really is nothing else. Intelligence is thought, creativity and imagination is thought, memories are thoughts. Our daily waking experiences are in essence our thoughts about them. Thoughts are awareness, a conscious recognition of something. If you think about this, you realize, and realize is another thought, it's a conclusion, you realize that all there is thought. Without it, you wouldn't exist. If you did exist without thought, you wouldn't know about it. So mind, which is the culmination of all thought, all thoughts, is consciousness, awareness, intelligence. It is the fundamental property of life and existence. To understand reality from this perspective, in this context, we have to play a little mind game, an imagination experiment. Start with your own mind. Understand that everything you perceive and experience of this physical universe, your individual experience of being human on a physical world, and all your inner experiences that give you a sense of personal identity, these all take place in your mind. You cannot, for example, ever be certain that you're not plugged into some virtual reality machine, or that this is not all a dream you haven't yet woken from. You have only your thoughts of this being reality to give you the sense and experience of it being reality. So when you observe your inner and outer experience of being, take the time to observe your mind too, and then observe the vastness of this planet and beyond into the universe full of stars and galaxies, and you get a sense then of how magnificent your mind is to be able to compute all this, contain it, if you like, because that's what your mind is doing. It's your mind and consciousness that's giving you this experience of a whole universe outside of you. Now, think about your dreams, which you can easily accept as being a creation of your mind, and appreciate how it can create equally vast and intricate and diverse and perceivably real worlds as the one you call reality. There are no atoms or mountains or sky or air or light or sound, no gravity, no laws of physics inside your head. It's all in your mind. If your mind and consciousness can create this in sleep states, it can surely create it in waking states. Many ancient teachings and shamanic traditions have used the term dream to describe waking reality. So let's use that word to go further. First, let's define dream. Stop just using it to describe imaginary experiences brought on in sleep, but think of it simply as mind-generated experience. So we can call our sleep state experiences dreams, but we can just as easily call our waking state experiences dreams, because they are both perceived through the mind, and we can't tell the difference between them when we're in them. They're both mind-generated realities. But where is the mind that's dreaming our waking reality? That's the big question that takes us a step further. So let's take that step and imagine a field of consciousness that is vastly larger and greater than ours, which is dreaming us. That field is the greater mind, but is in turn the culmination of all its thoughts, which includes me and you and this world and this universe and everything in it. And just as we can have unlimited thoughts and imaginings and fantasies and multiple dreams every night, creating multiple other reality experiences every night, so can this greater mind create its own collection of thoughts, imaginings, fantasies, and dreams, which creates a limitless multiverse of realities, which includes ours. And because our reality is within that greater mind, along with other realities, the borders between ours and those other realities are really only thought-created borders. And it only takes thought, imagination, or dream to cross those borders from our reality to another. And that is the essence of the OBE. So it's quite easy to imagine how we and our perceived physical reality universe can be a thought or dream-based reality. Maybe hard to accept, but not hard to imagine. The point is, when you contemplate this model deep enough, it trumps every other model, because within mind-generated realities there are no limitations, no rules, no borders, no impossibilities. If something can be imagined, it can exist. This is the understanding of reality that I've come to adopt over the years, and my experiences with out-of-body projection have only served to clarify, fortify, and corroborate this understanding. OBEs, astral travel, lucid dreams, and even standard dreams are simply our individual minds extending into the field of the greater mind and encountering its other realities. Any limitations we experience within this practice are only limitations of our own thoughts, which are laden with the limiting belief programs of the physical reality we've been raised and conditioned in. To imagine the big picture then, consciousness is a field of intelligent awareness, imagination, and creativity that is the one mind, source, God, whatever, in which all existence and all realities reside. All realities are thought realities within this mind, dreams if you like, and our reality is one of those dreams. And we, as individual smaller fields of intelligent awareness, are the dream entities of this mind. And our own minds can extend out into this greater mind and overlap with the minds of other individuals the farther out it expands into the field. Our minds are like an individual drop of water expanding into the ocean. It's the concentration of a small amount of awareness that gives us our sense of individuality. A teaspoonful is our individual physical identity. A cupful is our extended awareness beyond the physical, our energy bodies and minds, our etheric, astral, emotional, and mental bodies and minds. A bathtub full is our higher self, or soul self, from which the cupful and the teaspoonful are taken. And a bathtub full of higher self can yield many teaspoonfuls, which can be seen as all the different physical lifetimes and personages we experience in the course of our existence. Now all these bathtubfuls of individual higher selves are also part of greater containers, like swimming poolfuls or lakefuls, where my higher self and your higher self and every other higher self merge and become one and the same. And this expands all the way back to the one ocean. But we're not talking of oceans and bathtubs and teaspoons. We're talking of thoughts and imaginings in minds, within higher minds, within ultimately one mind. And we know we can create the experience of physical bodies and physical worlds within our own minds in our dreams, and they are so real. So imagine how creative this one mind is, or even our individual higher self minds are, and what they can create, and all with just the power of thought. To sum up then, Consciousness is mind, which is thought, imagination, dream. All realities are experiences within mind, ultimately one mind, created by thought, including this physical matter universe reality. Dreams, lucid dreams, and astral travel, along with other non-physical phenomena experiences, are all out-of-body experiences, meaning out of perceived physical body experiences. And the only difference between these experiences is the level of awareness present and the location or theme of the experience. OBEs are simply our teaspoonful of awareness, our individual minds expanding into cupfuls of awareness and moving freely through the limitless ocean of the one mind and encountering all its thoughts and imaginings at any level we choose. You see how simple all this is?